Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Die Hard MMA Podcast. My name is Clint. I am the host of the show. It is Monday, the best day of the week. Thank you, degenerates, all for hanging out with me. How is everybody doing this fine evening? I want to go ahead and take a second here to welcome in the chat. How's everybody doing? We've got Mario Indonikov, we got Mississippi Kid, Kamiko Senpai, Mr. Anonymous, my man. We've got Brandon, Rahil, Grateful Dude, Matt Bessler, Just Bleed MMA, what is up, buddy? Jamez, we've got Soul Hernandez, The Sharp Action. How is everybody feeling? What's going on, Mr. Anonymous? Everybody, do I sound good? I need a mic check here. I tweaked my settings just a little bit. How we sounding? Give me some feedback here. We've got Clay, Driscoll, 08, Mincy. All right. Guiavalos, what's up, my friend? Can't forget you. Thank you so much. Sleepy Meg, your best bet pod. Everybody jumping in here. We are live. We got 88 people hanging out, ready to talk some UFC sports betting action. 3 guys, 1 puck. Excellent name. And thank you very much for the feedback on the mic. I'm glad to hear we're all up and running, sounding good. Like I said, I kind of played around with the settings on the sound this week, so glad to hear I'm sounding good. How about the background, huh? It's happening. It's happening, folks. We got Woodley versus Covington this weekend, and I couldn't be more pumped. This is a fight that absolutely should have happened several years ago. We are finally getting it. Oh, Nicholas, buddy, I tried. Oh, everybody, okay. I shot my shot, right? I tried so hard. Bisping, the Michael Bisping, UFC Hall of Famer, tweeted out about how he was bored. He's stuck in Vegas. He can't do anything until the fight this weekend. And I was like, hey, so if you're bored, I've got a podcast tomorrow. We could talk about some UFC. And damn, he's got to get ready for the Contender Series, which I completely understand. Got to get ready for the Contender Series. No harm, no foul, Bisping. But hey, we will try again. I'm going to keep after him. Getting someone like Bisping on the show, that would be, chef kiss. All right. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in to hang out with me. I'm going to get this baby rolling. We have got a long card. This is a phenomenal card. There's a lot of fights. Granted, we all know COVID is going to take 2 or 3 of them from us at some point throughout this week. But we got to talk about last week real quick. Recap the card. There's a couple of interesting spots that I want to go ahead and go over. So let's talk about that. First things first. We had some Bellator action last week. What we ended up doing was giving away just a little bit of our profit. Unfortunately, we had that Raymond Daniels no contest nut shot extravaganza, which was the worst nut shot I've ever seen in my entire life. And the poor dude took 2 of them. That was just bad. So we get the no contest there. Chops our parlay down from 3 legs to 2 legs. Ed Ruth apparently has no idea how to defend a heel hook, so we bombed the parlay. We dropped a unit there. We had a great call on Polizzi at plus 120 to go ahead and get that done, and we damn near hit Holloway at plus 600 to upset Kat Zingano. She got her mounted in the 3rd round and was like raining elbows down on Kat's head, and Kat didn't seem to have an answer for it. Let me tell you, folks, the next time Kat fights, if it's anywhere near a semi-competitive fighter, I will be fading Kat Zingano. I'm a huge Kat fan. I love her. But yeah, she just does not have it these days. Anyway, so we dropped a little bit on Bellator. Moving on to UFC Vegas 10. Really good night. Really damn good night. So what we had, let's see here. Let's just kind of talk through this a little bit. First play of the night, we had our 2-leg parlay, our big 2-unit banger. Brian Barberena comes out. He does the damn thing. I'm a little impressed with Anthony Ivy. He was able to hold it, able to keep it under control, able to not get knocked out, but that dude just does not like getting hit. Now, I know I'm sitting in a chair here. I know I'm very comfortable where I'm at, but I didn't sign up to be an MMA fighter. You gotta be okay with getting hit if you're gonna be an MMA fighter, and Ivy is not one for striking. So Barberena did the damn thing, got it done relatively easily. I was a little bit nervous because he gave up a couple takedowns, and you just never know with the judges, but I'm pretty happy with that. Jalen Turner, he got it done as well. Brock Weaver, again, same exact thing. He looks really good in round 1. Looks like he's making some improvements. He needs a longer time at a good gym. So glad we didn't touch that one. Didn't get away from it. Alexander Romanov comes out here, looks like the animal that we all know that he is, but again, he was fighting nobody, so he stomped him. Kevin Croom, holy crap, Kevin Croom, this is where we got to pat ourselves on the back. Last week, we showed a whole lot of patience, and we did not double down on any spots. We didn't try and force any late plays or any late actions. I had a couple of parlays. I was looking at throwing Roosevelt Roberts into one, and we just stayed off, and that was the best thing we ever possibly could have done, because we knew some of these dogs were going to show up, and a lot of them showed up. It wasn't just one. It wasn't just two. We had like 3 or 4 gigantic underdogs spoil the party. Parlays were not a thing last week. And interesting comment here from Chris Johnson. Oh, wrong highlight there. Buddy, I absolutely take responsibility for my losses. There are 0 excuses here. I'm simply repeating what happened over the weekend. So, not sure where I made an excuse. Ed Ruth shit the bed. I lost my parlay. Vinicius Zani was not ready to go. We lost that bet. We had a good one on Polizzi. We lost a little bit on Bellator. We bounced back with a over 3 unit win on UFC. There are no excuses here, my friend. Just a winning night. So, thank you for your contribution. So, Roosevelt Roberts gets cracked and subbed in 31 seconds. Never saw that coming. Julia Avila, I was really high on her. We did have a lottery ticket parlay with Julia Avila in there by knockout. That was unreal. I mean, she looked really good until she hit the mat. Everybody all week was saying that Sijara Eubanks is live. Sijara Eubanks is live. I didn't see it. I'm a lifetime non-believer of Sijara Eubanks. And, some people made some serious money on Sijara Eubanks. So congratulations if you are one of them. Again, I'm just glad to hear I dodged that bullet. Billy Quarantillo, this dude is a monster. An absolute animal. He comes through and does exactly what we talked about doing. Round 1 was a little sketchy. Nelson hits freaking hard. Round 1, Kyle Nelson is a complete machine. When he doesn't get it done in round 1, he fades. He just drops right off a cliff, and that's exactly what happened. So Billy Q came through, did the damn thing for us, closed out our parlay. Nice little 2-unit profit there. I messed up. I made this announcement on Twitter. No more combo, round, and method props. No more. Even though they're just tiny little like 0.1 unit or 0.2 unit sprinkles, I keep missing them. I keep failing them. If I get the method, I seem to get one or the other. I'll either get the round or I'll get the method. I can't quite seem to hit both, and it's costing me spots where I could be a little bit more streamlined. So I had the Billy Q sub round 2 and sub round 3 props. I really would have and should have just played Billy Q in round 2 or round 3. Obviously, I thought submission was the way that he was more than likely going to get it done, but I knew the finish was coming in round 2 and round 3. That's my bad. That's the learning process. We're always trying to tweak our process here to be optimal, so I'm cutting those off. No more of those. And then I do want to talk about Ed Herman here for just a second. I had a special request to talk about Ed Herman. Holy crap, Short Fuse got a second shot at life in that fight. Did he not? So I had some people on Twitter that were kind of coming after me about make up your mind. Do you want the rules? Do you not want the rules? You know, I gave props to Ed Herman because here's the thing. Ed Herman is a fighter. His job is to fight. That was a bad stoppage by the referee. We all saw it on the replay, but the officials in MMA, they're not like in football. They can't watch the replay 7 times in a row in super slow motion and then make a decision. They have 1 second to make that choice. He got it wrong. But that's not Ed Herman's fault. And by the way, if any of you have done any type of combat sports, if you've ever been kicked in the nuts or if you've ever been kicked in the stomach, if it's really bad, it's close to the same feeling. Like, if you get hit in the junk, your whole gut feels awful. So Ed Herman probably, truthfully, didn't even know where he got hit. He just knew it hurt. So all props to Ed Herman for digging deep, doing what he did, getting the win. I'm really happy a bunch of people cashed in on him. But that's a spot that, I mean, Ed just did his job. The referee made a mistake. And that's something that I think should be corrected, but do we really want the UFC officials to be allowed to stop a fight and then go review the action for 5 minutes before they restart the fight? I don't want that. MMA needs to keep going. So anyway, it was an interesting spot. It was a crazy situation. As a fan of Short Fuse, I'm happy he got the win. Roxanne Modafferi, missed opportunity. That's my bad, folks. I'm supposed to be the Roxy Whisperer, and I just cannot possibly get her right lately. I was on a run of like a year and a half where I knew exactly everything that was going to happen with Roxanne. Can't put it on her right now, unfortunately. So lost a half unit, taking that really wide shot on Lee by KO TKO. And Lee wobbled her. She hit that spinning elbow and absolutely got Roxanne Modafferi to wobble. So I count that as, I guess, having at least a shot to cash that prop. But no, that one was no good. Ottman Azatar, we knew to flip the script on Kama Worthy. Got that one. And then Michelle Waterson. I have to briefly talk about this because it's such a hot topic real quick here. That was a close fight. Damn close fight. So, in my opinion, round 1, Hill. Round 2 could have gone either way. Round 3 was Waterson. Round 4 was Waterson. Round 5 could have gone either way. Put Eileen Michelle on that one. So, in my opinion, Angela Hill could have won 3-2. Roxanne Modafferi. I'm sorry, Roxanne. Hill could have won 3-2. Waterson could have won 3-2 or 4-1. That 4-1 card, I know a lot of people really scratching their heads on it. But if round 2 and round 5 were both in question, they both could have gone to Michelle Waterson. I know MMA judging isn't perfect, but that's the system that we've got. It was a really close fight. Either woman could have won. It wasn't a robbery. Even if Angela Hill had won and we had lost the bet, it wasn't a robbery. So, good night. Good night for us. We ended up hitting all the straight plays, and it was just the little prop long shots that we ended up missing out on. So we cashed just over 3 units. And believe it or not, that brings the 2020 record this close. We are negative 0.62 units right now for 2020. So we are this close to getting in the black. And then on top of that, the Contender Series record is 0.57 units in the positive. So if you combine those two records, we are 0.05 units negative right now for the year. So we got some work to do, and we're heading back to Fight Island. We had a really good run at Fight Island the first time. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we can definitely make some cash going there. I got to give some props here to Ben. Cashing on Michelle at plus 450 after round 2. Beautiful live bet, my friend. Congratulations. That is awesome. All right. There's the recap. There's the betting thing. We learned a lesson from last week. We made some good calls. Let's try and keep this mojo going. We're on a little bit of a run here. We're trying to get things chugging along. Let's get on a roll for Fight Island. Ryan, my friend, what's up? How's it going? Thank you very much for hanging out with the show. We have got 166 live viewers. Thank you all so much for spending your Monday evening with me. I appreciate it. This is odds.com. I don't know what happened to the little logo here. Somebody removed it from the StreamYard, so odds should be right here. For some reason, it's not. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get the word out here on the show. Let's start talking about UFC Colby Chaos Covington versus Tyron, the chosen one, Woodley. But we got to stop at the bottom. Y'all know how I do. We got to start at the bottom of the card. We're going to tease you a little bit, and then we'll grind our way all the way up to the top. Let's get this bad boy rolling right here. I need to change my background. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, Tyson Nam kicks off our night, taking on Jerome Rivera. We've got Tyson Nam, who is 19-11-1. He's 2-1 in the UFC, just got a nice big win. Jerome Rivera, 10-2, nice looking prospect coming off the Contender Series. Tyson Nam, we talked about him just recently. He had an opponent drop out. That's the only reason he's getting this real quick chuggy turnaround here. Low output, relies on the power, and he had a very limited camp this past show, but he has 100% takedown defense. That's Tyson Nam in a nutshell. You can kill this man with a jab. If you have sharp boxing, if you can stick and move, you're good to go. That's it. End of story. But if you're willing to get in there and trade, Tyson Nam has some serious striking ability, and he's got some serious power for this division. He can put you on your ass. If he doesn't get that knockout, he's probably going to lose a decision. So we'll see what happens here. Jerome Rivera, like I said, he's a UFC newcomer coming off the Contender Series. He's tall, he's long, he's got great leg kicks. He does have a long jab, and he's got an excellent Muay Thai plum. He can get you right behind the head and hit you with the knees and stuff like that. Good stuff. Big knees, big elbows from the clinch. This kid's a submission machine, all right? He transitions to the back extremely quickly when he has the opportunity. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. The problems that I've seen is that he drops his hands and he is more than willing to accept the bottom position because he wants to go to work in his Jiu-Jitsu game. When he was on the Contender Series, the kid he beat was 21 years old. Another exciting prospect, incredibly exciting prospect, but he's only 21. And he was eating some shots from this kid. I got to tell you guys, I think Jerome Rivera is just too green. I think this is too much, too soon for this kid. And honestly, I completely agree with this line here. The only way that I would be looking at this would be Tyson Nam. I think that Jerome Rivera is going to really, really struggle if he can't get Tyson Nam to the ground. And I know Tyson Nam doesn't have a whole camp that he's running off of right now with all the COVID restrictions in Hawaii and stuff like that. But I just think he's got enough to beat this kid. If you're not going to be a savvy striker, somebody like Sergio Pettis, somebody like Kaikara France that can threaten the takedown and then mix in your solid striking and then avoid the return fire of Tyson Nam, that's what you have to beat this guy. Because if you can't get out of his way, if you're willing to give a shot to take a shot, Tyson Nam is going to knock you out. If you can't threaten the takedown, which this dude's got a 100% takedown defense rating, he's not afraid of the ground game because it's not getting there. So if you can't take if you can't take him down, and then you also can't threaten him on the feet, you're cruising for a bruising against Tyson Nam. I think Tyson Nam is going to land a knockout. I like him here. I saw the line drop just a little bit. If you can get him around that minus 145 range, I love that spot. I can't quite get to this line myself yet, unfortunately, with football and basketball and all that shit being back, MMA is kind of taking a back seat. So it's not an official pick yet for me, but honestly, I'm looking very hard at placing a bet on Tyson Nam when I have the opportunity. Banker Glenn, what's up, buddy? Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, I thought we were going to have Bizbing here for a minute, too. We had just a little glimmer of hope. I thought we were going to get him. Jason DeRoe. What's up, baby? How's everybody doing? Darrick Anthony, thank you, my friend. What's going on? All right. We've got 189, 190. It just ticked up. Woo! 190 live viewers. Thank you all for hanging out with me this evening. One thing I do want to point out a little earlier than usual is our other sponsors, the boys over at GOATCapitalSports.com. You can find them on Twitter at GOAT_capital. They've been crushing the other sports. So if you're looking for a conveniently priced package to get some sports betting info, they've been trending upwards, especially with football and stuff like that coming back. Give them a shout out. Let them know Clint sent you. They love me over there. And they've got us covered for bets and picks in pretty much any other sport you're looking for. Aiden, new subscriber. What's up, buddy? Thank you very much for subscribing and hanging out. And Darrick Anthony, yeah, we will talk about that very, very quickly here. Andre Ewell taking on Irwin Rivera. This one had me in fits. So if you've been following the podcast, hanging out with me here for a while, you know I am not a fan of Andre Ewell. I'm simply not. So what we've got here is a guy that fights extremely tall and extremely long. He's got those physical advantages that give him cheat codes, a lot like Luiz Pena over his opponents. He's just difficult for these other fighters to get to because of his height and reach. He keeps his hands low, sharp jab. He's extremely fast and athletic. He sticks and moves really well. He uses front kicks to control the range. And honestly, he's been making improvements. As much as I have taken a crap on the skill set of Andre Ewell, I've said I'm not impressed with him. I've said I don't like him. He has been showing improvements time and time again, every single time he gets into the cage. The fighters that he is losing to are very, very good fighters. And honestly, they're losses that can be relatively forgiven. He lost to Nathaniel Wood and Marlon Chito Vera. I mean, those are two guys that we were extremely high on. Super high skill set. So we can't really fault him for that. And then he's really just handling anybody else that he's in there with. Irwin Rivera, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt under Gilbert Burns, which y'all know I love my Burns. And he's been training his boxing with Henry Hooft. Good place to be coming from. This kid is in the right place at the right time. He's got strong body lock takedowns, and he is just all heart. Real tough, durable, does not quit, does not give up. He's the type of dog that you are looking for. You want to back this kind of a kid because he will fight for your money every single step. I have another 2-unit parlay this week, and I have already tied up Andre Ewell. We got him at minus. We got Andre Ewell at minus 185. I locked it in early because I knew the line was going to move his way. And honestly, as much as I think I like Irwin Rivera, I don't think he's got what it takes to beat Andre Ewell. Andre Ewell has an 8-inch reach advantage. 8, folks. 8 inches. That is a whole lot of inches. When you can't kick your opponent and they can still punch you in the face, that's a hard thing to overcome. He does have a good ground game, but I don't think he can get it there. He's going to have to close the distance from those 8 inches to be able to get that body lock, and even once he does, Andre Ewell has some very impressive takedown defense. I don't think that Irwin Rivera is going to be able to hold Andre Ewell down once he gets it to the mat, if he does get it to the mat. And if he can't, Andre Ewell's just going to run away with this thing. So our first leg of the evening on our 2-unit parlay is Andre Ewell. I've already locked that one up. Can't complain about it whatsoever. And it looks like we are well on our way to already beating a line movement. He is now sitting at about minus 210, and it's been all Ewell money on the front side. What's going on, everybody? I see some more people rolling in the chat here. How's everybody doing? Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's kind of the question, is that Rivera doesn't ever stop. He's a great dog. I absolutely like what he does, and he does train with the Burns brothers, and I think he'll be something in the future. I just think, like I said, I think he's outgunned here. You talk about hardware, you talk about the physicality of certain fighters. He's just at a massive disadvantage in this particular fight, and that's the issue for me. Dear Slayer Ski, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for hanging out. All right, here we go. And yeah, he did barely squeeze by his last opponent. I don't think so. Yeah. Thank you, Grateful Dude. Appreciate that. I'm glad to see most of us are agreeing here. Like I said, I think this is one where we are going to beat a large line movement, and I have a hard time believing that Irwin Rivera is going to stand much of an opportunity in this fight. Now, don't get me wrong. I always talk about it. You can't count the dogs out. Once you close that fence, these people are caged animals. They're fighting for their families, their food, their paycheck, and you cannot count them out in any circumstances. But I don't even see where he lands like a bomb or something like that to be able to clip Ewell and put him down. 5 of his 10 wins by knockout, yes, but those are more so on the regional scene. A lot of his tougher opponents, like with Giga and Ali Al-Casey, those are in the UFC. He's going to decision. He just doesn't seem to carry that, like, power. You know what I mean? That fight-ending snap power. I think Andre here. So we're going to lock him up. He's in the parlay. That's going to be our first leg. Let's keep this thing rolling. Kevin Boss, what's up, buddy? You are more than welcome. If you all are cashing that Die Hard stimulus check, let me know. And don't forget to head on over to pubsportsradio.com. Grab yourself a shirt. Those of you who won t-shirts on the last podcast, not last week, sorry, the week before, where I gave them away. I know I apologized already for those going out late, but here's the thing. We actually had a family member go into hospice this past week, so things have been a little crazy around the household. We'll get those shirts shipped out to you. I apologize for the delay. But anybody that didn't win a shirt, go snag one. All right. Next fight on the docket is Journey Newsom taking on Randy Costa. And this is another fun fight, in my opinion. This one's going to be an absolute banger. So Journey Newsom, 9-2-0. Randy Costa, 5-1-0. Both guys really looking to make their mark here. Journey Newsom's a BJJ brown belt, high-level ground game, really sharp and crisp boxing, solid, hard, heavy leg kicks. He closes range extremely fast. He is so fast, so explosive. This kid is good to go. He's got really heavy hands for the division, and he's slightly undersized. That's kind of my only issue with him here, is he seems to have a height and reach disadvantage from his opponents every single time, but that power closes that gap, no problem for him. So I don't know if he should necessarily drop a weight class, because it seems to be working for him. He made his UFC debut on short notice against Ricardo Ramos, which, damn, like if you're stepping into the UFC for the very first time and your draw is Ricardo Ramos, like, no thank you. So this kid has done everything anybody has asked him for, and he looked very impressive with Ricardo Ramos. His second win in the UFC, he dug deep. He got hurt in the first round, dug deep, and turned it around with a big knockout to close the show. And that got turned into a no contest for smoking marijuana. Stupid, I know, but trust me, we remember. That knockout needs to be remembered. He deserves every inch of it. Randy Costa on the flip side of this thing, really tall and long for the division. Good prospect. He's got good head movement. He's got these great knees. He just fires them right up the middle, right at chin range. You don't see them coming. But he is a wild striker. He keeps his hands low and he wings power shots constantly. He's training with Mike Brown and guys like Marlon Moraes, so he's in a good camp. I think he's coming along. But honestly, this kid, I think, made it to the UFC too soon. Back in the day, I mean, after like the Ultimate Fighter season 1 or season 2, you saw guys getting to the UFC that had 2-3 professional fights under their belt because they just needed people. You don't see that anymore. You've always got to have like 7, 8, 9 fights before you get to the UFC level. This kid was signed after like 3 professional fights, 3 or 4 fights. I just think he's here too early. So we're going to see him really tested here. He's had 2 UFC fights, 1 win, 1 loss. And he's just been, I mean, the thing is, he's a killer be killed fighter, right? Like this guy either steps up and wrecks his opponents, or the one time he lost, he got dragged into the second round and choked out. His only loss is the only fight he's ever been to the second round in. He's got 7 minutes of total fight time. Whereas a guy like Newson on the other side of this thing, he has a full 15 minutes against Ricardo Ramos, not to mention his other fights. So drastic gap in experience between these two. Even though he comes from a good camp, I think Randy Costa may be a little bit outgunned here. I locked up Newson. I bet him at minus 135. That is an official play. I am betting him. I like what I see. And even though he's at a slight size disadvantage, I think the wild striking of Randy Costa is going to leave him open for a bomb. Again, this is one of those kind of sketchy ones where Costa's got everything he needs to land a knockout blow, so it's entirely possible that he gets Journey and puts him down, but I really think that Journey's going to be the one that comes out here. So it looks like we just beat a slight line movement. I saw it dip down to about minus 130 a little bit earlier, but now it's sitting at minus 140, so looks like I'm not the only one coming around on Newson. If you want to jump on that one with me, probably need to get on it sooner than later, although Randy Costa is a decent dog. If he gets up to too juicy of a dog line, I'm sure there will be some bounce back. All right. Hey, Mississippi Kid, thank you, my friend. Pound that like button. I appreciate you, my friend. 215 live viewers. Thank you all one more time for hanging out with me. Yeah, and MMA Cuck, Costa doesn't wear damage. Well, knew some size, helps him scramble. Absolutely correct. I think he's going to be totally live in those situations. He's a good fighter. Absolutely. Joshua, what's up? Glad to hear you cashed on Roxy. I love hearing that. There we go. And then let's see. Yeah, I like that. So you know what? I'm looking at the schedule here on. Let's see. Google has it, and I think they've got Laramie later on in the card, don't they? Oh, they're not even showing him. Okay. So I do apologize for that, but it doesn't look like Laramie is listed. Okay, so we'll talk about the TJ Laramie fight real quick because I'm not sure where it's actually going to be listed. It does look like we did that. And you know what, Ben? I've got to think that Vegas bounce backs tonight. I mean, I don't think they're going to get, crapped out 4-1, that kind of thing. Sharp Money, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for coming to hang out. All right, so let me see. Where are my notes here on TJ Laramie? Okay, so we also have a fight right here. Darrick Minner and TJ Laramie. There it is. I don't know why it's not on this. I don't know why it's not on the UFC page. That's weird. All right, thank you very much for the reminder. I would have skipped right over it. I appreciate it. So Darrick Minner, TJ Laramie. Darrick Minner is 24-11. TJ Laramie is 12-3. Darrick fights extremely long, big hard leg kicks, and this is a dude that dives on chokes. He lives and dies by the submission, right? Absolute submission machine. He is a submission over position kind of fighter, which more often than not, we say that that's a negative because you really want to lock your opponent down in MMA, make sure they're not scrambling out anywhere, and then work towards that submission. He will just dive on it and go for it. The problem with that, though, is that he leaves himself open. He gets out scrambled, he gets reversed, he gets tired because he goes full bore round one every single time. He's just trying to murder his opponent as fast as possible. If he doesn't get that sub, he usually gets finished. TJ Laramie, he's the standout from Dana White's Tuesday Night Contenders. We just saw him a couple weeks ago. Really sharp boxing, stiff jab, good head movement, and really good grappling. Strong top control, heavy ground and pound. He is more than happy to just sit on top of guys and go to work. He's got solid submission defense. And in the Dana White Contender Series fight, he actually got in deep on a submission against Swain. And honestly, that's kind of keeping me off here. We've got a 12-3 fighter taking on a 24-11 fighter. The experience gap is huge. I mean, Darrick Minner has almost as many losses as TJ Laramie has wins. So there's a big, big gap in what these two guys have for experience. And Darrick Minner, he's really only lost to some top-tier dudes. I think that TJ Laramie is going to lock him down. I think TJ Laramie will be able to stay safe enough on the feet. Once this thing hits the mat, I do think he'll be able to stay safe. I think he'll be able to stay on top and be able to land some damage, land some ground and pound. But honestly, I just don't like this price tag. So TJ Laramie opened up at minus 245. He's already minus 275. If you think he's a parlay piece, if you think he's worth laying the chalk on, then go ahead and hit it now, because money is just going to keep on pouring in on TJ Laramie. So if you want to beat that line move, you go for it. But honestly, Darrick Minner is the kind of guy that comes through as a plus 300 dog. He is the kind of guy with that finishing ability that if you don't give him the respect that he's due, he will snap a choke off on you. And we've seen TJ Laramie put himself in some very chokeable positions. So I understand what everyone's talking about. I like TJ Laramie. I think he wins. I honestly just think that this line is too wide, and personally, I don't think I'm going to bet it. Now, maybe a little bit later in the week when the props come out, I would take a look at this one. TJ Laramie by knockout, TJ Laramie inside the distance, that kind of thing. Or maybe even an under 1.5. It looks like the early line for the totals here. We've got the 1.5 set at plus 100 for the under. The over is minus 130. I mean, I kind of like that because Darrick Minner can absolutely land a choke in that first round. That's what he does. And if he doesn't pull the upset, then he's doomed to just getting ragdolled by TJ Laramie. And Laramie's a mean SOB. Like, he tries to hurt people. So if he chokes up Darrick Minner, he's going to do it as fast as possible. Or if he decides to ground and pound him, Darrick Minner's only got one round of gas. It'll happen early round two. So I'm kind of looking at maybe the under 1.5 in that fight, but I really don't feel like picking a side. 227 live viewers. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Kind of like I said at the top of the show, the odds logo is missing because somebody removed it from my StreamYard preferences. Don't know what happened to it. This is Odds HQ. Thank you for heading out with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor, press the like button. How's everybody doing? Mississippi Kid, Gabriel F. Fonz, Mario Lobo, Sex God in the house, Casual with Balls, DPS. Yes, I'm reading all these names on stream live, believe it or not. Going for it. Screw it. All right. So where were we? Picking back up, Jessica Rose Clark taking on Sarah Alpar. I think that's how you say that. Sarah Alpar. For some reason, my mouth wants to put an H in there and make it Alfar, but I don't think that's right. So what we have got here is Jessica Rose Clark, 9-6. She's been in the UFC for a while, lots of experience at the high level. Sarah Alpar is 9-4. So almost as much experience, obviously not as quite as high a level, but pretty solid record there. Jessica Rose fights out of Syndicate MMA, which our girl Roxy is from. You know, we absolutely know they know what they're doing over there. Kind of a hotbed for women's MMA at the moment. She's got a nice jab, hard leg kicks, really nice high, tight boxing guard. They love to see it. Nice elbows inside when she gets close. She's taken a very, very technical approach to her striking. She's trying to kind of get that level up where she's able to just pick her opponents apart on the feet. I think that's what she's going for these days. Not looking to brawl, not looking to finish. Just wants to kind of piece people up, pick them apart over the course of 15 minutes. She is 32 years old, taking on Sarah Alpar, who is 29, making her UFC debut. She comes to us from the Dana White Contender Series. She was on August 13th. At the end of 2019, or sorry, not at the end, but last year. So she's been out for almost a full year at this point. Sarah's an absolute tank. She's a thick built, like, she's not the kind of woman that comes in here looking like she's all ripped up and shredded, and she doesn't look like bulky and overly muscular or anything like that either. She's got a little bit extra on her, but she knows how to work it. You know what I mean? She is absolutely solid. Kind of think Daniel Cormier. Like, not exactly impressive physique, but you know they put it to good use. She has a wrestling background, and she just mauls girls. She comes in with wild punches. She looks for that club and sub, tries to rock people and, put them on their back foot and then pin them up against the fence. She is very, very green on the feet, very, very hittable. When she hits the mat, though, she is dominant. She looks to take the back extremely quickly. She is fully capable of choking people out. She's got 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, and then 5 wins by decision. More often than not, this chick is a grinder. And this fight is a whole lot closer than the line suggests here, in my opinion. Jessica Rose Clark is a minus 220 favorite. And I got a hard time getting behind that. I know she's a great striker. Striker. I need my cowboy hat over here. She's a great striker. She's coming along. Great, maybe even too much of a strong word, right? I'm sorry. She is not a great striker. She's an okay striker. She has wins, a split over Bec Rawlings, a win over Paige Van Zandt, both of whom we know are frauds at this level. Then she loses handily to Jessica Ai, who was the #1 contender very recently, and then Piani Kinzad, which that was a good fight, but that's another kind of mid-tier opponent, right? So she's taken on this chick who is now coming into the UFC for her debut, and we haven't seen Sarah for a full year. Have not seen her for a full year, and she's been... You got to think a fighter that's 29 years old is probably making improvements. I think she's going to cause problems. Honestly, I think there's some seriously live dogs here, and I think it's the women this week. I'm going to sit tight on this one. I kind of want to see what kind of shape Alpar is in. I want to see what she looks like. I want to see her at the weigh-ins, see how sharp she looks. Because, man, if I could find anything on her as far as improvements, I think I'd be taking a shot here on Alpar. I think Jessica Rose Clark is the type of fighter that just... We've seen the finished product. I don't know that she's really giving her... I don't know that she's going to get any better. You know what I mean? I don't know that we see Jessica Rose Clark do much more than we already have. Sarah Alpar, on the other hand, she has so much room to grow in the striking, and we haven't seen her for a full year. You know she's working on her hands, and she's got that wrestling in her back pocket. I think she could... We're in the small cage. Don't forget, we're not at Fight Island yet. We're still at the Apex. So we've got the small octagon, and I think that Sarah will be able to press Jessica Rose Clark up against the fence. She'll be able to work for some takedowns. And I think she'll just be able to grind her way to a decision victory. And even if she doesn't, this fight probably plays out relatively closely. I mean, Jessica has been ground out 6 times before by fighters. That line is way too wide. I would not suggest playing Jessica Rose Clark at this line. And if anything, I might try to go the other way a little later in the week when I get better prices. Jessica Rose Clark, minus 220. Sarah Alpar, plus 180. Yeah, tempting. Very, very tempting. All right. Eddie, what's up? Eddie Mendez, thank you for joining me. Yeah, Ben, she is... oops. Wrong. Man, when the chat moves and you're trying to highlight a comment, it's just killer. Streamer problems, folks. She is Van Zandt level fighter. Maybe not even a Van Zandt level fighter, in my opinion. Honestly, I think Paige is more athletic than she is. Yeah, didn't... with all the other stuff going on in life, didn't quite get to shave this week. I apologize. I try to keep it a little cleaner for you guys on the pod, so... Don't worry, this will be gone by next week, I promise. All right. Thank you, Art Grief. I appreciate it. All right. DPS, what's up? Yes. Andre Ewell is in a parlay. A 2-unit parlay, no less. So, yep, we are on Ewell. Let's go. All right. Next fight coming up here. Jordan Espinosa taking on David Dvorak. And this is another... Okay, I'm going to say this is a fun one basically every single time, guys. Almost every single time we pull up a fight, I'm going to let you know that it's a fun fight because this card is excellent. And when you dig into the tape and you see what these people do, the matchmaking is just spot on this week. We're in heaven. It's amazing. So what we have got here, Espinosa is 15-7, taking on David Dvorak, who is relatively new to the UFC, 18-3. Jordan Espinosa, extremely athletic, extremely fast, really strong hips, good takedown defense, good offensive wrestling, good hands, fast, explosive, and he's training under James Krause. Good place to be, good guy, good coach. Everything looks good to me for Jordan Espinosa. He had a little bit of a rough start in the UFC, but it looks like he's starting to right the ship. However, the only hole that I can kind of poke right now in Jordan Espinosa is that his last win was against maybe the worst fighter in the UFC, a guy who is no longer around. He got a win over Mark De La Rosa, and he went the full 5 minutes with Mark De La Rosa. It was a one-sided fight. He was absolutely solid, but he probably should have finished a guy like Mark, right? Mark De La Rosa is on a, I think, 5-fight losing streak? 4-fight losing streak. Yeah, 4-fight losing streak, more than likely, unless he gets a short notice call-up type of situation. Probably not with the organization anymore. So Jordan Espinosa does not have a great track record in the UFC. Now he takes on this David Dvorak, who is big. He's really big. Good footwork, switches stances. He wings these big overhand punches, and he's got big, strong clinch knees, scrambles well. He looks to take his opponent's backs, and that's where Jordan Espinosa, he's been choked out a couple times. Jordan Espinosa has lost by submission, and I know a lot of people are diving on David Dvorak, but honestly, I've got an ever so slight lean to Espinosa. This line, I think, is going to ping-pong around all week. If I could have got Espinosa at plus 150, I probably would have taken it, honestly. I probably would have. But now that it's down to an actual pick'em fight, honestly, I think this is just a stay away. I don't know that I like this fight. I'm going to keep digging. I need to do a little bit more research on Dvorak, but the fact that the bookies opened him at about minus 180, and now he's down to minus 105, y'all know my stance on that, right? If the bookies are seeing something that dictates, unless I completely disagree with them, unless I think they're absolutely off their rocker, they know what they're talking about. They don't set bad lines more often than not. So if he is supposed to be about a minus 200 favorite and we're getting a pick'em price on him, it's not a bad time to come in on David Dvorak. I'll say that much. So if you like David Dvorak, now's the time to bet him. Get him while the price is good. You're on the value side there. If you like Jordan Espinosa, if you feel like playing him as a slight favorite, I guess go for it. But he's got to earn my faith a little bit more than taking out Mark De La Rosa before I'm willing to put my hard-earned money on him. All right. InCloud saying Espinosa stinks. It's fine. That's fine. Let's see. Here we go. Clark keeps it on the feet for a decision. Yeah, okay. I can see that. Jordan is extremely fast. That's kind of the big thing about that. Boom, Tony C. Cash in on the 2-unit parlay last week. And it was like the only favorites parlay you could get away with on that card, right? Glad to hear you hit it, my friend. Glad to hear you hit it. All right. We're all caught up here. 248 live viewers. Thank you very much for hanging out with me this evening. This is Odds HQ. My name is Clint. This is the Die Hard MMA Podcast. And we are talking about Mayra Bueno Silva taking on Mara Romero Borilla. Had to pause there for a second because between the two of them, that is a freaking mouthful. So Mayra is 6-1-0, taking on Mara Romero Borilla. And she is 12-8. So again, we've got another one of these spots where it's a huge experience edge to one fighter. So Mayra, she walks her opponents down. This chick is mean. I like Mayra a lot. She walks forward. She chops with that low calf kick. It looks like you showed this chick a tape of Justin Gaethje and went, go out there and fight like that. That's what she does. She just marches forward. She attacks the low calf, and then she uses front kicks to maintain the range, keep her opponent where she wants them. When she has the opportunity to clinch up, she's got nasty knees, sharp, accurate punches, really nice hands. But the problem for me is that she doesn't have great takedown defense. And when she gets to the mat, she is willing to accept the bottom position. She gets stuck there. She has bad balance. She is not built for grappling just yet. And because of that, I don't think I can back her here. Mara Romero Borilla, she trains out of ATT. The only thing this chick can do is grapple. She looks to wrestle in every single fight, and she has a super offensive game. She catches kicks and forces her opponents to the mat. She scrambles well. She's good at taking the back. I left a giant note for myself that just says in all capitals, pass. This is a fireball and popcorn fight, folks. You want to sit back, relax, have yourself a beverage and a snack because I want nothing to do with this fight. We have seen so many of these hype trains get derailed. So many of these kids that are stepping up in competition for the first time against an opponent who we all say is bad at the UFC level. And they get kicked right down the ladder. It's happened so many times the last 3-4 weeks. It's unreal. None of these kids are passing their tests right now. And because of that, I've just got this weird feeling. If anything, I want to bet Mara Borilla. Believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, but she's at a good camp. She's got a decent skill set. And even though she's on a losing streak right now, I think she's on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak. Until the moment that she gets beat, she looks good. She does what she's supposed to do until she gets beat. And I know that sounds odd, but against an opponent who gets stuck on the floor, she's facing a wrestler, and this is going to be a test. So we've got Myra sitting at about minus 240, and again, I think this is one where the line is going to ping pong around a little bit. She opened up at minus 275, and some money has come in the other way. Plus 200 on Mara Barilla. That's what I'm saying. She opened up at plus 215. She got bet all the way down to plus 185 at one point. I think this is a dog or pass spot. I know Myra Bruno Silva has the ability to knock out Barilla. Absolutely. And Barilla is a prime candidate for being faded, but you can't lay that kind of chalk. Now, if we want to take another opportunity, if we want to say, look, the young gun is just a monster and she should knock her out, play inside the distance. You can get her plus 135 now, I guess. Apparently, we're not the only ones thinking that. She opened up plus 172. It's all the way down to plus 135. Take Myra Bruno by finish, because she's just going to knock her out if she's going to win this fight. Because Barilla, she caves. When it's late in the fight and she's out of gas and her opponent is still chomping forward, she gives it up. So because of that, I could absolutely see Silva finishing. And on the flip side of that, if you want to say Barella by decision, plus 575. I mean, you're getting a much better price tag there. The only problem is I wouldn't count out her winning by submission. So, I mean, this is a sketchy fight, folks. Extremely sketchy. You can get plus 320 on Barilla inside the distance if you think she gets to that back. So, yeah, yikes. Pass. I just say pass. Fireball and popcorn, baby. Speaking of fireball and popcorn, check out the guys over at pubsportsradio.com. Here's the merch tab. That's where you can get the shirt. I got to move my big old noggin out of the way. That's the one right there. And speaking of which, my buddy Nick just popped in the chat. What's up, Boston Nick MMA? Thank you for hanging out, my friend. Bro, some dad hanging out. What's up, buddy? 1D Ammo, thank you very much. Yeah, we know all about the drug trafficking. Barilla, this is one of those things. Barilla is not a good person, right? Like, I can't say that she's a good person, but when it comes to sports betting, we got to kind of set that aside, not worry about it, find a good spot to go ahead and take a shot. Aaron Milner, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, we're down two at this point. The one I mentioned a couple weeks ago, that was a different one. COVID's real, folks. COVID's real. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise, because trust me, we're feeling it. That'll bring us to Mirsad Bektić taking on Luiz Garagorri. Mirsad Bektić. What do we do with this guy? Point unit, what's up? Whoo! Mirsad Bektić is a busted prospect, right? Like that's what we keep hearing about him. That's how we keep referring to him. But I just want to pull up his record here in the UFC and let's talk about it here for a second. Dude is 13-3, trains out of TriStar, 29 years old, 29. So he is extremely young, fully capable of making improvements, adjustments, and changes. But how much damage has he taken? So he goes on a monster UFC run. Everyone's talking about he's the second coming of GSP. He's just going to run through the division. He's just going to crush people. Then he gets the biggest comeback of the year. Gets knocked out cold by Darren the Damage Elkins. He beats Elkins within an inch of his life and gasses out from laying that much damage on a man. Runs out of gas, and Elkins puts him out. He bounces back extremely well, gets two good solid wins. One of those is split over Ricardo Lamos, who even though he just retired, this was 2018, 2 years ago, much more gas in the tank back then. It was a solid win for him to get back on track. Now he's on another 2-fight skid. He loses to Josh Emmett by brutal, vicious first-round knockout. But again, that's what Emmett does. And Emmett, in my opinion, is a top fiver. He's a contender. He's a guy that could challenge for a title just because he's got that insane power. And he takes a split loss against Dan Ige. That's one that has me semi-impressed even in a loss. Now, the problem is Ige put a beating on him. So even though he lost that fight and he looked okay doing it, he has taken so many shots recently. I got to wonder if this kid hasn't already reached his miles. You know what I mean? Just taken way too much punishment at way too young of an age, took that step up in competitions too fast. And now he's getting a 13-1 contender who the UFC is basically saying, which one of y'all's real? That's what they're doing here. We've talked time and time again. Fighters don't get that big step down in competition, usually unless the UFC is working some kind of an angle. Get right fights are rare, they're few and far between. And I don't think this is a get right fight. I think this is the UFC going, okay. Mirsad Bektić is not a title challenger yet. Is he even UFC caliber right now? Let's find out. So they've got Garagorri, who is another decent looking prospect. And they're saying, exactly, Richard Martinez, they're saying sink or swim. You're going to beat this kid, or you're probably losing your job. So what we see from Bektić is a grappling machine. All right, he's got a high, tight guard when he's boxing because he's got to protect that chin. He's been cracked one too many times. He's got to be very, very careful. Good timing, good entries on his takedowns. Heavy top control. When he gets on top of you, he just mauls people, and his shoulder pressure is vicious. So Mirsad Bektić in the grappling realm is just insanely high level. And that's his path here. You do not want to strike with Garagorri. Hey, Z's MMA, my buddy in the chat, what's up here? Wrestling gap is too wide, so is the line. Pick Mirsad, pass the fight, betting-wise. Wise words, my friend. Extremely wise words. So let's talk about Luiz for a second. Hard jab. Dude circles extremely well. Power body and leg kicks, and he does the Travis Brown elbows. When he gets pinned up against the fence, people are trying to take him down. He does the, nice downward elbows on the side of the head trying to put him out. He throws spinning kicks every once in a while. Big power, but he's only got a 53% takedown defense rating. So what's going to happen in this fight? Mirsad Bektić is going to dive in for takedowns, and he should get them. Is Garagorri going to clip him on the way in? That's the question. Because if Mirsad Bektić cannot get this to the mat, if he gets pinned up against the fence, Garagorri's going to hurt him with those elbows against the cage. If Bektić gets clipped with a knee or an uppercut on the way in, Garagorri probably puts him out. So it's wrestle or nothing for Mirsad Bektić. And the problem with that is that Bektić has got to go another 15 minutes. I don't think he's going to be able to I don't know, I guess maybe he could submit Garagorri on the mat because there is a gap in the grappling there. But this line is just so unjustified right now. If you're looking for a bed shitter, if you're looking for the guy that's going to ruin your parlay this week, it is Mirsad Bektić. Minus 470, no thank you. Yet again, another fireball and popcorn fight. Simply a dogger pass spot, in my opinion. Plus 375 on the other side. I wouldn't hate it. If you need some action, if you want to throw $10 on the fight to give you a little something to sweat, go for it. Hit Garagorri. Have at it. Go nuts. But not too big. Just don't put too much at risk for it because remember, you know what? I haven't given my speech for a long time, guys. Those of you who have been with me for a long time know it's coming, but I haven't given it in about a month or so. Bankroll management. Never overextend yourself on any one play. You've got to make sure you're betting small enough units that you're not hurting yourself in case you lose, because we all have losing nights. The best gamblers in the world are winning 56% of their bets. That's a whole lot of losing mixed in there. So you've got to understand that the bad nights come, they will happen, and you don't want to be caught with your pants down. So make sure you're betting small enough that you're chipping away at it, you're building a stack, you're hoarding your gold like a dragon in your cave, but don't let it be enough to hurt you when you have a bad night. If you want to throw a little sprinkle on a guy like Garagorri, you go for it. Just don't go nuts. And that closes out the preliminary card, folks. That'll do it. We are knocking on the door of 300 live viewers this evening, which I can't tell you how pumped I am for that. We've got 290 right now. I would love to hit that 300. Let's go ahead and get there again this week because, believe it or not, for some people out there in the world, there's a football game on, which I'm going to tune into as soon as we're done with the stream because your boy's got some degenerate betting action. Of course, why wouldn't I? But I thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It means the world to me, especially on a Monday night like that where we've got this many viewers. Just, y'all are the best. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here doing this. So thank you so much for the love and support. It really means the world to me. Kevin Holland taking on Darren the Dentist Stewart. Jimenez knows what's up. Kevin Holland is my boy. Kevin Holland is the guy. I love this kid. I called him out years. 300. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you all so much. You guys are awesome. We hit 300 live viewers this evening. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much. Kevin Holland plays with his food. That's my only problem with this kid. He is so good everywhere. He has these cheat physical advantages. He's tall. He's long. He's got hard punches. He's a volume striker. Kind of John Jones-esque, where he will just pick you apart. He has no problem standing with you and just piecing you up for 15 minutes. He lets the knockout come. And honestly, that's a great thing to have, because if you're chasing the knockout, sometimes you open yourself up to getting hurt. He just sits back and boxes people up until they open up that door for him to land the kill shot. He was recently promoted to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, I think. Or was it black belt? I got to go look up his Instagram. I can't remember if he got the black. I think he got the black, actually, now that I say that. But he's dangerous everywhere this fight goes. Dude is a finisher. Dude is an absolute killer in every sense of the word. And he's got a 7-inch reach advantage here. He's going to tower over Darren the Dentist Stewart. And he's going to be able to keep Darren Stewart on the end of those punches. Darren struggles with grappling. We've seen it time and time again. However, Kevin Holland, like I said, he plays with his food a little bit. You can't trust him to follow your game plan. Holland is one of those guys that he's only going to do what he wants to do, and we have no idea what that is until they close the cage. His last fight, he should have taken his opponent out. He should have choked him out in the first round, but instead he decided to box him up, and I lost on my submission prop. Jack, thank you for the rescue there, buddy. Black belt, that's what I thought. I typed it out as a brown belt, and then I was like, I don't think that's right. Darren Stewart, he's got scary power, right? This guy is a absolute monster with his hands. If you let him hit you, he will destroy you. However, he's got too many holes in his game, in my opinion. He relies on that power. He gets backed up against the fence. And like I said, he's at a height and reach advantage. He kind of reminds me of Tyron Woodley, where he kind of has a gas tank issue. He's got all that muscle, which, yeah, that knockout power is great. But if he can't land that knockout early, he's probably not going to, because a guy like Holland will just be able to finesse him later into the fight. And Kevin Holland has shown nothing but durability. This guy takes every single shot that gets thrown at him and walks through it. Love this guy. Love this guy. So Kevin Holland is anchoring my parlay from earlier in the evening. The 2-unit parlay, Kevin Holland, I got him at minus 225, and Andre Ewell at minus 185. That pays out plus 123. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. And we put 2 units on it, folks. And it looks like Kevin Holland has been bet down to minus 250 at this point. I say bet down, but I mean, it's only a 25-cent move, so it is what it is. Honestly, I think he's going to be minus 300 or minus 350 by fight time. This is one of those spots where I don't understand. Why are people buying into Darren Stewart here? He showed us nothing recently, except he beat Maki Pitolo, who Maki Pitolo is, once again, probably a busted prospect. Not overly impressive. Every time Darren Stewart takes a step up in competition, he's the guy on the wrong side of it. He's the guy that gets crushed. I really don't see a path to victory besides a flash knockout for the Dentist in this spot. So I think Kevin Holland is a good, solid parlay piece, and I'm surprised that we are getting the line on him that we are getting at this point. I got to wonder if people just don't believe in Kevin Holland yet, because he should be a minus 300 or 400 favorite here. Mario, my friend, yes, I've done my homework this week. We will be breaking down the Contender Series at the end of the show. So I'm going to go through UFC Vegas 11, and then we'll go ahead and pause and go over the Contender stuff there at the end. All right, Mackenzie Dern taking on Randa Markos. We talk all the time about women that I simp for in MMA. They're going head-to-head. We got 2 of them. Y'all know I love my redheads, and Randa Markos always has that dyed fiery red hair. Can't get enough of it. Mackenzie Dern, submission specialist, high-level, incredible Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. She thick. I like her. I'm a fan. Dern is 8-1. Randa Markos is 10-9. So she is literally a 500 fighter at this point, but she's been fighting the literal best competition in the world. So going 50% against the toughest women out there and finishing half of them, it's really not that bad. Women's MMA records, they are not like men's MMA records. You get these types of spots, and they shouldn't be disrespected just based on the fact that they're not, 12-2. It's hard to do with women's MMA. It's just not that big of a pool anymore. So Mackenzie Dern, high-level BJJ black belt, grappling specialist, submission machine. She is really green on the feet, though. She's got power, though. She wings really, really big power shots. She is a fan of the club and sub. She looks to sweep and submit people off of her back, which you love to see, because whenever fighters are high-level jiu-jitsu players, they like playing off their back, but a lot of them get stuck there. A lot of them just want to go ahead and sit there. Pause the show. Mystic Sosa is here. What's up, buddy? Thank you for hanging out. Just had to get that in there. How's everybody doing? All right. So she is not one of these fighters that's going to go ahead and get planted on her back and get stuck there. She looks to sweep. She looks to submit. She looks to reverse position. So she's solid in that spot. I don't mind Mackenzie Dern taking the bottom position. Randa Markos, she has really sharp boxing on the feet, believe it or not. The problem is she's a little stationary. She likes to sit still. She doesn't really move her head a whole lot, but she's extremely physically strong. She's a good wrestler, solid offensive grappling, and honestly, when she's on her back, she has extremely intelligent defense. Good submission defense, and she seems... the one thing for me is, even though Randa Markos is not old by any stretch of the imagination, we talk about how the very first sign of a fighter that's nearing that retirement is the hesitation to pull the trigger. And what we've seen in Randa Markos' last couple of fights is that she's really having a hard time letting go. And she has been fighting the best women in the world, so I understand that. But it's really concerning to me to see her just not go to work. So against Claudia Gadelha, that was a fight that I bet Randa Markos, because I'm trying to fade Claudia and someone with a offensive grappling game like Markos, and then the boxing, the sharp hands. I thought that she would be able to have more success on the feet. Claudia proved me wrong there, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. Randa was just too scared to pull the trigger. She had no offensive output there. Against Ashley Yoder, she got that one done, but it was a split. You don't really want to be winning a split decision in that part. The last time she really looked good was back in 2019, which I know that was only a year ago, where she beat Angela Hill by submission. So Randa Markos has got all the tools. It's just a matter of who shows up. If the right Randa Markos shows up, honestly, she could cause Mackenzie Dern some problems. If the wrong Randa Markos shows up, she plays right into Dern's strengths. Because if she is going to stand on the feet and be tentative with the striking, Dern is going to land a bomb on her. Dern is going to uncork on her. She won't fear the striking of Randa Markos. If she looks to grapple and she looks to take Mackenzie Dern down, Dern's like, no problem, bro. Let's go to the mat. Let's play. So I have a hard time with this one. If I could trust Randa Markos to come out here, stay sharp, stay tight, stick and move, keep this thing on the feet, honestly, I think she's a live dog. There's a path to victory for Randa Markos here to win a decision over Mackenzie Dern, who has very limited striking. I just don't think I can trust her to do that. If Randa Markos is going to sit back and not uncork, the big bombs of Dern are going to be what lands. I'm sorry, I may have misspoke there. If Randa Markos is willing to sit back and not throw, then Dern is going to be able to get off on her big shots. And I think that those are going to be the difference maker in this spot. And then once they grapple, it's all Dern. I know Randa Markos is a good wrestler, but Mackenzie Dern is a strong chick. She will be able to reverse. She'll be able to sweep. She'll find those opportunities. So I lean Mackenzie Dern here. And honestly, a lot of money is coming in on Randa Markos. So people are kind of seeing what I am seeing, that there is a path to victory for Randa Markos. But if this line gets low enough, I'll smack a bet on Dern. I had to make sure I threw a bet in there so people didn't just hammer me for saying the wrong thing live on camera. So she opened up minus 205. She's down to about minus 165. I mean, if we can get minus 150 on Mackenzie Dern, maybe not a bad spot. Maybe take the submission prop. I think there's an opportunity for that as well. So yeah, that's where I'm looking. I think it's Dern or pass, and if the line keeps getting better, maybe we go ahead and take that shot. Brandon Olson, thanks for tuning in, buddy. I appreciate you hanging out. What's up, everybody? What is up? You know Clint's a dog. All right. Okay, that turned real quick. All right. So here we go. And actually, Clint's never been a dog. I like to play around, but your boy's very happily locked down. I talk a good game on camera. I'm giving away my secrets here, but I've never been a dog. Now we get to the good stuff. Johnny Walker taking on Ryan Superman Spann. What a fight, man. What a fight. We've got two really, really potentially disappointing prospects here that the world was just so high on not that long ago. Oh, Johnny Walker's my boy. I love Johnny Walker. I love the positive attitude that he brings. I love his never quit attitude. He's such a fun guy. He's always joking around in there, the facial expressions. He's awesome. I love Johnny Walker. But he's a lot like Michel Pereira, right? He does crazy athletic stuff. He's got wicked knockout power, but you can't trust him to do anything. Incredibly athletic. He throws a lot of feints, which sets up his strikes. That's good stuff. Crazy knockout power. I know I already said that, but it warrants echoing. Physically strong. He is difficult to get to the floor. He is very powerful. I know his last fight didn't exactly show that, but he was working with a high-level grappler there. He's a guy that has constant forward pressure, and he has been a little exposed recently, right? He got shown that he can get put on his back and gas out. He has been shown that he's got the weakness to that big right hand. You know, Corey Anderson talked about it before he landed that knockout. And you know what? Corey Anderson didn't even put Johnny Walker out clean. I know he was stumbling all over the cage, but he didn't go down. He didn't go out. The referee gave him a standing TKO. Walker wasn't completely done there, which it was a good stoppage. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like he's been taking, like, damage. You know what I mean? So I don't have questions about his chin or anything like that. The question is, has he patched up that weakness to the overhand right? Because Superman Spann has a damn big right hand. Johnny Walker does have a 4-inch reach advantage. And he does seem a little confused when his opponents don't get knocked out. It's like he doesn't have a plan B. Ryan Spann is training at Fortis MMA. Great camp. One of the best up-and-coming camps right now. Can't imagine much better places for him. It's on my short list. Extremely athletic. Also has explosive power, and he's got a nasty squeeze on him. Ryan Spann actually has a lot of wins by submission. So believe it or not, if he gets on somebody's neck, he could choke out here. He's got a big right hand. Like I said, if Walker hasn't patched that up, that could be a problem. Spann has good offensive wrestling, but he also seems to slow down and gas out. And in his last fight, I remember sweating extremely hard because I had Ryan Spann as the first leg of a 3-legger parlay, and he damn near got knocked out by Sam Alvey in the 3rd round of their fight. That's a bad look. I can't possibly, I know he's a dog, but look at this. Ryan Spann went from being like a minus 450 favorite over Sam Alvey to being even money against a guy like Johnny Walker. Why is he not the huge favorite? Because he got his ass kicked by Sam Alvey. Alvey's a guy that's one-dimensional, should be retiring, and almost put this kid out. I have a real hard time with this fight. My brain tells me it's Johnny Walker. Sitting about minus 120, minus 130. That sounds about right to me. I can understand betting on Ryan Spann as a dog, even money, plus 110-ish. So how does this play out, right? Like, this is the game that we try to play. I'm going to give this, live on camera instead of just telling you my opinion here. They come out. Johnny Walker's on a 2-fight losing streak. Maybe a little more calm. Maybe a little bit more reserved than he normally is because he doesn't want to take that 3rd L. Does his usual feints. Plays around. Ryan Spann probably plays into that and then looks for the takedown, right? That's what he does. He bullies his opponents up against the cage, gets under the hips, tries to get them down. If he can get on the neck, that's fine. But Johnny Walker ain't shooting a takedown, so there's not going to be a quick guillotine choke that opens that up for him. Spann's going to have to get Johnny Walker to the mat and then transition to the back to be able to do it. Johnny Walker's last couple losses have came to high-level grapplers, and I wouldn't really call Spann a high-level grappler. He can wrestle. It's decent. But he had a hard time taking Sam Alvey down, and it made him tired. If Ryan Spann can't keep Johnny Walker down and finish him in the 1st round, I think Johnny Walker clips him. I think Johnny Walker wins this thing by 2nd or 3rd round knockout. I think the 1st round might get a little sketchy, might get a little rough, but once these guys both start to kind of slow down, tire out, I think Johnny has a real path to the knockout here, and I don't know that Spann is going to be able to do that back to him. I know Spann, his power is a little underestimated or a little under disrespected maybe. I don't know. That's not the right word. He's only got 4 knockouts, but he's got some heat in his hands. So he's got some pop. He could absolutely rock or clip Johnny Walker. But I think Johnny Walker still has the athletic advantage here. And then the 11 submissions, I don't know that Spann is going to be able to have the opportunity to jump on that guillotine because that's what he does. Johnny Walker is so tall, I don't think he's going to be able to pull him down and like scoop for a guillotine and then jump guard to be able to get that done. I don't know. I understand the angle, like I said, on Ryan Spann, but this is a big step down for Johnny Walker, and Ryan Spann did not impress against a lower level or a bad step up type of competitor in his last fight. I can't back him here. It's Johnny Walker or pass, in my opinion, and we're getting a pick 'em price, so, go for it if you want. And a really good question here by Stephen Perez. The total may be a half decent way to go here. It's set at 1.5. The under is minus 105. I do have the feeling that somebody goes to sleep here. As always, everybody make sure you subscribe here to Odds HQ because I'll be coming back later this week with my Total Madness show. I'll break down the totals over and under for every single fight on this card. And this is one that will have me doing a little bit more homework the next couple of days because both these guys have gone deep. Like, very recently, both of them have been going to decision far more often than the early finishes. But now that they're both kind of getting a step down in competition, maybe they go back to their finishing ways. I think that under 1.5 is extremely live in this particular spot. And DJ, I completely agree with you. That's the fight to make. I would absolutely love that fight. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. If I'm gonna bet on my boy Walker, bet round 2 or round 3, not round 2 knockout or round 3 knockout, because knowing my luck, this would be Johnny Walker's first ever submission. All right. Good. Okay. Good stuff. And yeah, there you go, Robert. Johnny screwed us. And honestly, both these guys. I've lost a lot of money on both these guys shit in the bed very recently that I think this is a fireball and popcorn spot. Like I said, I might put a little sprinkle on Walker just because. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll decide later in the week. Give me a follow at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter if you haven't already. I love the interaction. I love hanging out and chatting with you people. Always positive. Always trying to be in a good mood and have some fun. That's where you find me, and that's where you'll find my official picks when I lock them in. Danny Sejo, buddy. Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, Khamzat's back, baby. Chimaev returns to the octagon. And have they been pushing this kid hard? So let's just get this all out in the open right away, right? I don't think there has ever been a fighter that's been booked for 2 fights. We've seen a lot of people, like Frankie Edgar is a perfect example, booked for a fight a couple weeks down the road, takes a short notice fill-in replacement, trying to just double up on it. More often than not, that doesn't pan out, though. More often than not, they end up losing that first fight, and it ruins the second fight. This is the first time they've ever actually scheduled somebody for 2 fights. They've said, you get GM3 this weekend, and then 2 weeks from here, you're going to get Damian frickin' Maia. I don't know how they're getting that man to agree to that, because, I don't know. If it's my retirement fight, I don't want Chimaev. I'll tell you that much. So GM3, we got to talk about the experience gap here, folks. That is the story of UFC Vegas 11, is gaps in experience. Yeah, and Danny knows what's up. Smash! This guy is Khabib 2.0, right? I can't wait for him to be back. He's so fun. So Chimaev is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, but he's crazy athletic. Big, tall, long for the division. Extraordinary grappler. He does the Dagestani handcuff. That's where you reach around behind their back and grab the wrist so they have no option to move or roll out. He's just a crusher. He melts people. He never stops. His gas tank is probably his best weapon, and that's saying something because he has a lot of weapons. He just always looks for the ground and pound. That's something that we've noticed in his last couple of fights. He wants to get the TKO win. He's mean. He really wants to knock his opponents out. Now, when he doesn't get the knockout, he forces them to give up their backs, and he gets the submission. I am 100% right now on betting Khamzat Chimaev. 100%. His first UFC fight, we knew he was going to get the choke because his opponent was incredibly tough, incredibly durable. We knew he wouldn't give up a knockout loss. Gave up his neck, got the choke. We cashed in on the Chimaev by submission prop. Next fight, same situation, opposite issue. Opponent has good submission defense. Chimaev wants the ground and pound TKO, so the chokes were half-hearted because he wanted to get that highlight reel TKO knockout. Sure enough, got the damn thing. We played Chimaev by knockout at even money. Got it. Now we've got GM3 Gerald Meerschaert. And how do I keep that 100% record intact? The truth is, I don't know. That's the answer right now. I have a huge issue with Khamzat looking past a guy like Gerald Meerschaert. GM3 is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so he knows exactly what he is doing on the mat. He's got pretty good hands. Decent boxing. He kind of fell in love with his striking a little bit recently. I don't think he has the power to clip and hurt a guy like Chimaev on the feet, but he's got the type of boxing to go ahead and strike with him. Mirsad is dangerous all the way through the fight with submissions. If you are tired, if you are gassed, he will slap a choke on you. And the difference in jiu-jitsu levels for these guys is unreal. However, he's coming off a really bad loss. He just got TKO'd by the Hurricane, and now he's making a short turnaround to take on a monster in Chimaev. Honestly, I think we look back at the knockout prop on this one. The props aren't out yet, so I can't quote anything on that. I am not laying this price with Khamzat Chimaev. If you're betting on him, you got to find a different way to do it. Because minus 420, minus 450 on a kid that's on his third UFC fight and already dipping his toe into the top 10. We talked about it before. These hype trains have absolutely been a problem. They are fading. They're failing when they get those tests. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a believer in Khamzat. I think this kid is the real deal. I think he belongs in the UFC. I think he belongs in the top 10. I just feel like this is extremely fast. And I think he's already looking towards a fight with a guy like Demian Maia and not really worried about Gerald Mirsad. And that could be a deadly mistake. So I don't know that I'm going to go ahead and put a bet on this one just because of that factor. I'm going to cheer for Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going to pick him to win. But I don't know that I'll be... I don't know that I'll actually be taking that shot. My prediction is Khamzat Chimaev lands a knockout. Gerald Mirsad coming off a knockout, didn't take enough time to really recover and get better. So he may still be open in that area, and I think Khamzat Chimaev has a speed advantage, so probably going to have a boxing advantage if it hits the mat. Chimaev's submission defense is solid. He'll be able to grind in top position, maybe get that ground and pound TKO. So that's what I'm saying. Chimaev by knockout. If they give me even money, maybe I go ahead and take that shot again. But this one, honestly, is probably just another sit back and enjoy the destruction. Get your fireball out. Get your popcorn out. Have a fun night watching Khamzat Chimaev roll. We have got 358 live freaking viewers on this Monday evening. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It means the world to me. Do me a favor. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe. Let everyone know what is up here with the Die Hard MMA podcast because we are rolling. And I don't normally do this, but I'm feeling generous. Apparently, Burt MMA is the best channel. So go check him out. What's up, Burt? Thanks for hanging out. Yep. Still going, Rob. I'm still going. Darrick, I would not bet the house on him. Like I said, there's a chance. There's always that chance. That banana peel pricing, and that's where we're getting. Zabel's got it right, though. Chimaev is not stupid like Agapova. You know what the difference is? I actually think he is stupid like Agapova. The only thing is he's got the gas tank to do it. He just marauds and mauls people. He doesn't slow down. So I absolutely think that he can keep that kind of a pace up. And yeah, Danny knows what's up as well. GM3's boxing doesn't really impress me. He struggled with a guy like Dern. I think the UFC knows what they're doing here. Again, it's dangerous to overlook somebody with the skill set like this, but I think the UFC knows exactly what they're doing here. GM3 is not supposed to win this fight, and honestly, I don't think he does. That's what's up, Ronald. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. All right. Whoo! Cowboys back, folks. Donald freaking Cerrone in the house. We have got Donald Cerrone taking on Nico the Hybrid Price. And if there was ever a term for me simping for a male UFC fighter, it would be for Nico Price. I love this man. He's got the death touch. He is non-stop positivity. He never, ever stops smiling. Even when he gets knocked out, he immediately stands up and hugs his opponents. Loves every single moment of the scrap he is in. I'm a huge fan of Nico Price. And he's just so wild. If he could just rein it in a little bit, this dude could be title contention worthy. He's so raw, and I don't know if he's the kind of guy that will ever get the opportunity to do that because I just don't know if he ever takes his foot off the gas pedal, I'll be honest. Again, the experience. Donald Cerrone has 36 wins and 15 losses. This guy has been fighting forever, and he's taken on Nico Price, who is 14-4. I want to talk about Nico Price just a little bit more for a second. He has high output, a long, hard jab. He's got a big counter right hand. He's got a sneaky left high kick, big clinch knees, power doubles, good submission defense, offensive submission attacks. He always looks for that dark choke. Sorry about that. But he's coming off a war with Vicente Luque. If y'all remember, I tried to fade Vicente Luque. Tried to. I'm done. No more. I promise. I tried to fade Vicente Luque, and Niko Price damn near got it done. His power is unreal. And you have to shut his lights out. Niko Price has the unrealist Justin Gaethje style chin on him. If you don't knock him dead, he doesn't stop coming forward. And he will take two to give one, and more often than not, that one is more than enough. He knocks everybody out. He's got power from every angle, every opportunity, and he's going to enjoy a 3-inch reach advantage in this fight. Donald Cerrone is looking extremely old right now. And for those of you who are fans of Donald Cerrone, I am very sorry. He was, some time ago, a guy that I had no ability to pick. Every time I picked on Donald Cerrone, he would lose. Every time I bet against him, he would win. Couldn't figure this guy out. I'm cashing my ass off with him right now because I found out when this guy was going to fall off a cliff. I saw the signs, and we've been betting against him ever since. He's on a 4-fight skid, and I am on a 4-fight winning streak. So what happens here, I think Donald Cerrone goes to sleep, folks. Donald Cerrone's on a 4-fight losing streak, and he's been knocked out in 3 of the 4. Granted, it's come from the absolute pinnacle of 155. Got knocked out by Tony Ferguson. Doctor stoppage, not really a knockout, not quite the same thing. Got flatlined by Justin Gaethje. Got shoulder checked and knocked out in about 40 seconds by Conor McGregor. He did just go a full 15 minutes with Anthony Pettis, but again, he kind of got busted up in that fight. And he's a 155er, kind of parading at 170 for fun at the end of his career. Niko Price is a real 170-pounder. Niko Price is a monster at 170 pounds. And when they get into these scrambles, I think that Niko will have no problem unless Donald Cerrone pulls a Mike Perry and snaps up an arm in a transition spot or something like that. I just don't see how he wins. He doesn't have the knockout power he needs to put away a guy like Price. At 155, he's got power. He TKO'd my boy Alexander Hernandez, works the body, TKO'd Yancy Medeiros a couple years ago. But at 170, he just doesn't have the pop in his punches to put someone away. And because of that, I think we're going to get a 10 or a 15-minute fight where he has to stand toe-to-toe with one of the hardest punchers at 170. I completely agree with this line here. Niko Price at about minus 150. I think it's accurate. Donald Cerrone at plus 130. Yeah. I mean, technically, honestly, I think the line could be, I can't say that. It can't be a little wider. The factor here is the power. Donald Cerrone is a much slicker striker. He's much more technical, much more experienced than Niko Price. But he can't get touched, and that makes the fight hard. This is a Francis Ngannou type of situation. You just can't let the guy hit you. If he hits you, you're probably dead. So honestly, I mean, maybe look under. Maybe. Because I don't think that Donald Cerrone can take the kind of punishment that Niko Price is going to dish out. So I think Nico's going to force a firefight, and I think he's going to force it early. Because if Donald Cerrone has a shot, it's not letting this fight go long. Maybe we look at a total there. The other option is Niko Price by knockout. Donald Cerrone maybe by submission. Because I don't see Cowboy lasting 15 minutes with the type of pressure that Niko Price puts on him. I think it's sub or bust, really, for Donald. And honestly, I think far more often it's just a poor knockout loss. And Cerrone probably needs to hang it up. And, Flat Earth Deacon, this kind of comment makes me really sad. Because when these fighters get to the ends of their careers, they just fall off a cliff. Donald Cerrone was amazing. He was incredible. And it just makes me sad that a lot of the younger generation probably is just never going to see that. They're only going to remember him as the guy who won a bad decision over Al Iaquinta and then got wrecked by everybody else. I mean, that's what most people are going to remember because that's all that's happened recently, but he used to be the shit. Cowboy was so awesome. It's going to make this one hard for me. I'm a fan of Niko. I cheer for him every single time out. More often than not, I bet on him. And I'm probably going to bet on him here. but it's going to make it really, really, really disappointing to watch Cerrone hit that canvas again on Saturday. That's going to be tough. And that's it, folks. We've made it. This is the main event of the evening. We've got 357 live viewers. Once again, thank you all so much for spending your evenings here with me. My name is Clint. This is the Die Hard MMA Podcast. This is Odds HQ. Make sure you give the video a retweet. Make sure you hit that like button for me. Leave a comment down below. Let me know who you cashed on last week. Let me know who you're betting on this week. And just throw me a hashtag Die Hard stimulus check if you made some money, because we're on a little bit of a heater right now. Colby Chaos Covington taking on Tyron, the Chosen One Woodley. It's finally happening. It is finally here. This fight should have been made 2 years ago for the belt. I really wish it had been, because 2 years ago, Tyron Woodley is a completely different animal than 2020 Tyron Woodley. So let's get some of the stuff out of the way, right? Both men coming off losses. Tyron coming off the back-to-back losses. Made some money going on my boy Gilbert Burns the last time out on that one. And really, Tyron Woodley was the first example I was able to pinpoint of that champion caliber fighter that probably needed to hang it up. He was the guy that I looked at when I said, you can see the hesitation. You can see them not quite wanting to pull the trigger anymore. That's the guy that developed that angle for me. I've bet on Tyron Woodley so much over the course of his career. This man has made me so much money. And now I'm doing the opposite. I'm doing extremely well betting against him. Colby Covington went 5 rounds with Kamaru Usman, and that fight was 2-2 going into the 5th. They stood toe-to-toe, folks. They both landed 140 plus significant strikes that night. That was a war. And I want nothing more than to see Colby versus Usman too. That fight needs to get run back. Just for our entertainment's sake. I don't even care who's going to be champion afterward. I want to watch it again. It was fireworks. His boxing, his hands are unreal. Colby Covington has speed. He has precision. He has offensive wrestling. And he has a gas tank that just don't quit. Bedroom cardio, baby. Colby Chaos Covington does not slow down. Tyron, I gotta go ahead and show that off. Yeah, my boy Mr. Anonymous had himself a night on Saturday. Had a night. Woo! Tyron Woodley. Bombs for hands, right? We have seen the missiles that he has unloaded on people. In fact, that's how he got the belt in the first place. Flatlined Robbie Lawler. Flatline Josh Koscheck. That's the highlight reel knockout that we're going to see a couple of times over. And actually, he landed that bomb on Darren Till. That was maybe the one time in the last 5 years that Tyron Woodley has really let go, was when he landed that bomb on Darren Till. And then he couldn't even finish him with the punches. He had to go to the submission. Realistically, these days, Tyron Woodley is almost a small welterweight compared to some of the guys he's fighting. I mean, I know Darren Till moved up a weight class, so maybe that's not fair. But he's just a brick shit house. So much muscle. He's a lot like Yoel Romero. He explodes, and then he has to reload. He has to stop for a minute because Tyron Woodley cannot fight at a pace for 25 minutes. And in my opinion, that makes this fight relatively easy to handicap because Colby Covington melts people that can't stay up on him. Maybe Tyron Woodley put a call into his buddy Kamaru Usman and got on his EPO plan and will come out looking like an absolute animal and be able to go a full 25 minutes. But I don't think so. What Colby does is inhuman, but he's got the body type for it, right? He's not overly muscular or anything like that. Guys like Usman and Woodley can't do that without a little extra help. Yes, the insinuation I'm making, you can put 2 and 2 together. Tyron Woodley is slowing down. He's 38 years old now. And we've got our rule. You don't bet on 40-year-olds unless you've got a damn good reason. Now, Tyron Woodley is not quite 40 yet, but we are seeing the signs of that age, and he's still fighting potentially the number 1 contender of the division. So, in my opinion, you've got to have that damn good reason here. Is that damn good reason the fact that he's training with Jorge Masvidal? He came out in an interview recently. He talked about Jorge Masvidal really kind of reinvigorating him, lighting that fire underneath him, and getting him going again. For a guy who was dead set on becoming the greatest of all time, wanting to crack George St. Pierre's record, like he got way into his rap and acting career. He fell off the wagon when it came to fighting. Can he get that fire back? George is the guy that's kicking his ass out of bed saying, bro, we got to go run. George is the guy who's kicking his ass when he gets up, pulls him off of the ground after he's resting. One more round, buddy, let's go. Like, he's getting dragged by George Masvidal. Tyron Woodley has promised that he's going to let his hands go on Saturday. He's promised that for the last 3 fights in a row, and he just never does it. Tyron, the only reason I can believe him letting his hands go in this spot is because there's a personal investment in this fight. These two do not like each other. Now, I know Colby's got the MAGA shtick. I know he's a Trump guy. He does. That's like Cejudo being Triple C, cringy chip Triple C. Cejudo does that to piss people off. He wants you to tune in to see him lose, and he just disappoints you every single time. So you're going to come back the next time trying to see someone knock him out. Obviously, the fight with Usman being the one outlier to that situation. If Tyron Woodley comes out heated, angry, looking for vengeance, tries to knock Colby out, he's got to do it in round 1 or 2. And this is another spot, in my opinion, where if he doesn't get that early knockout, I think Colby just takes over. It's a lot like Billy Q last weekend. I think Colby Covington just has so many tools, so many weapons, so much gas in the tank that I think he will overwhelm Tyron Woodley throughout the fight. And I do think that Tyron Woodley is a clean fighter, and I think that he will slow down. We saw Gilbert Burns to him in the last fight out. He's durable enough to go ahead and last that 25 minutes. But Colby Covington has that extra incentive in this fight as well. He's trying to get back to the rematch and the title shot. He feels like he kind of got that taken from him. Whether or not that's true, not my place to judge or comment, but he wants it back. I think he's going to try really hard to get this win. And honestly, like I said, with the personal beef that these two guys have, a knockout in this fight would not surprise me. Now, I know Colby Covington, all he does is win by decision. So the smart money, I guess the easy play of the day, is to bet Colby by decision. That's minus 150. I don't like it. I mean, if it was even money, sure, maybe. If it was even money, go for it. That's the most likely outcome. But Tyron Woodley is getting old, and he got clipped by Gilbert Burns in his last fight. I think his durability is starting to go. And if he does what he says he's going to do, if he comes out and he looks for that knockout early, if he tries to put Colby away quickly, there's a good chance his gas tank doesn't hold up. And if his gas tank doesn't hold up, Colby's going to melt him in every sense of the word. I could see Colby Covington landing a knockout here, believe it or not. I could see Colby Covington doing a late knockout. And that might really be my only spot on this fight, because I think that Colby Covington is worthy of the minus 350 price tag that he's got right now. I think he's a parlay piece. If you want to throw him on as an anchor on some of your crazy shots this week, I think closing the show with Colby Covington is not a bad spot. On top of that, you're going to get plus 300 to hedge out if you feel like locking up a win on Tyron Woodley later that night. So, Colby's the pick. Lay the chalk if you want to. I think that's fine. Colby landing a finish in round 4, round 5. Your boy's probably going to sprinkle, because Colby doesn't ever finish fights. I might take the rounds 3, 4, and 5 props because I know they're going to be gigantic. Not by knockout. I will not be betting Colby by knockout in round 3 or 5. Just Colby in round 3, 4, or 5. Simply because I think Tyron's gas tank is eventually going to fail him. Whether it's this fight or not, I don't know. But I think it's completely possible for him to get hurt, get clipped, and run out of steam. The under is also not necessarily a bad option, because if you want to keep that little opportunity in for Woodley to land the bomb, I mean, I guess go for it. You're getting plus 165 on the under 4.5. Both these guys could finish. It's possible. They could. But I can't touch Tyron Woodley here, guys. I think until Tyron Woodley gets a huge step down in competition, I can't back my boy anymore. And I was a huge supporter of Tyron Woodley for a very, very long time. But it's over. Gas Station Sushi, what's up, my friend? And yes, Woodley is getting worse every time out. He talks a big game. He talks about how he's got that fire back. He's showing training videos of him boxing in Thailand on the beach. And fact of the matter is, he's out there living the life. He's partying. He's a rock star trying to be one. And yeah, he is not the fighter that I used to bet on, so I will not do it anymore. That'll do it, folks. That will do it. I think it's Colby. I think it's Colby all day. That is UFC Vegas 11. If you feel like sticking around, I'm going to run through the Contender Series real quick. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me this evening. It would mean the world to me if you've got social media to share the podcast, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, throw me a retweet, something like that. Please just like the show for me. That is a huge, huge deal. We are trying to get an episode of the podcast up to 10,000 views. That would be freaking awesome. And Drunken Boxing, yes. Yes, Tyron Woodley is delusional at this point, unfortunately. All right, that's it. So far, let me go ahead and recap those bets. What we've got right now is a 2-unit parlay, Kevin Holland, Andre Ewell. And then I did go ahead and take a flyer on Journey Newsom. I am looking at betting on Tyson Nam, especially if I can get around that -140, -150 spot. Maybe an under in Darrick Minner, TJ Laramie. Maybe Sarah Alpar, potential live dog. I think that's about it. Maybe Johnny Walker, maybe a prop on Comzat or a total there, maybe Nico Price. So yeah, there's a couple spots that I might be pulling the trigger on later on in this week. Give me a follow at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter. And for those of you that are not gonna stick around, tune in tomorrow because me and my boys are going to be live for the final Contender Tuesday night stream for a couple of weeks. The UFC is going on hiatus for the Contender Series while we are in Fight Island because it's Dana White's Contender Series. He has to be there for it. So we're going to go ahead and take a little break. We're going to go off season basically until the Contender Series returns. Thank you. Invisalign. They need to sponsor me. I shout them out all the time. All right. So what we have got next is the Contender Series. Let me get that page pulled up here so we've got some background other than this page to talk about it here. Boomski. Tapology. Little behind the scenes magic here for you. There we go. All right. So starting at the bottom of the card, we have got Kyle Driscoll taking on Dennis Paiva. And what we have here is Kyle Driscoll coming out of AKA. Good double leg takedowns, offensive pressure game, likes to grind his opponents against the fence, always looking for heavy top control. He ended up missing weight by a half pound, had to strip down, use the box of shame to get weighed in at 146. Taking on Dennis Paiva, who is heavy on his feet, likes to march forward, methodical, long jab, big left hand, sneaky head kick, strong hips, and he fishes extremely well for underhooks. He knows how to fight up against the fence. Honestly, in my opinion, if Dennis Paiva can keep this fight on the feet, he should win. He should win here. And right now, he's a +150 underdog. Not all the books have dropped lines yet. So more often than not, I think that your books lines are going to look a little different than this because these are opening lines. They're going to get hit hard. They're going to get hit early. And then you'll get a more mature line a little bit later when you have the opportunity. I can't even bet it right now. But I will be looking at Paiva. I think Paiva is a live dog in this spot. I like his skill set. And that's the way I would lean on this first fight of the card. Gas Station. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the kind words. And we got the sports keg in the house. Jay, my man, what is going on? Haven't seen you in a minute, buddy. Hope you are well, my friend. And thank you, my friend. I hope we're doing that as well. Another nice night would be fantastic. All right. Second night of the fight. Second fight of the night. Let's try that again. Your boy's getting tongue twisted. We've been live for a little bit here. I need some dinner. I need a shower. And I want to go watch some football. We have got Danielle Wolf taking on Tanisha Tennant. I think that's how you pronounce that. This is a really interesting fight. So Danielle Wolf is 37 years old. She is 0-0. This is her MMA debut. She is an Olympic caliber boxing world champion. Solid Muay Thai skills. I found some video of her training out at Tiger Muay Thai, and you all know Tiger Muay Thai is one of my number one gyms in the world. If you train MMA at Tiger, you are in extremely good hands. They're going to get you prepped for everything that you need to go. So she's in a very, very good place, and you got to think they've addressed the grappling out there, although I haven't been able to find any video of it. Troy, my friend, yes, we will do another collab with Lynch as soon as we can. I've actually got a special guest for you all next week. It's not James Lynch. We got a special guest again next week, though, but I will get Lynch back on the show. I love breaking down fights with that guy. He's a good dude. So what we've got here is a weird spot because she's taking on Tennant, who is training with Sijara Eubanks. She's training with Claudia. She's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. Really long jab. She's got a decent 1-2, good footwork, but she's extremely green. She is only 3-0. Now, she does have 2 amateur fights and then 2 exhibition bouts. So in total, she's got 7 MMA fights, and that's a decent chunk of extra experience. But she is a striker. I haven't seen her shoot a single takedown. Have not seen her go for it. And because of that, honestly, I can't trust her here against Wolf because Wolf is big. Wolf has a size and a speed advantage in this spot. And her real weakness would be the fact that she's not good on the ground. She's a boxer. But if her opponent isn't going to come in and look to grapple with her, she's probably going to knock her out. I almost cursed there badly. Sorry about that. Yeah, the clinch. Yeah, that's right. And I don't know. I think this is Wolf or pass. Honestly, this is probably mostly just a pass spot because we don't. I don't know. Do you want to lay minus 150 on a chick making her MMA debut? Not her UFC debut, but her MMA debut? I don't know. That's sketchy. If you need some action for the night, I would look at Wolf. I think she's the side. She probably gets the win. I honestly think that Tennant's being kind of led to slaughter here. They really want to pump up this Olympic boxer coming in here. It doesn't seem like she's getting the Mayweather treatment. They're not trying to make her look bad. You know what I mean? That's not the kind of thing they're doing in this spot. So I think they want Wolf to win, and I think this is a very winnable fight for her. And Andrew, I would love to have Robin back on the show. He said he'd come on again sometime. I'm hoping we can get him a little more betting savvy so maybe the next one can run a little bit smoother, but I would absolutely love to have him back on. He said to hit him up in a couple weeks, so maybe in a month or so I will reach out to him and we'll get him back on the pod. Corey Coop coming in here, taking on Michelle Lombardo. Michelle. That always makes me think of dodgeball. My fitness consigliere. Michelle. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. So what we've got here is Corey Cup. He trains with James Krause, which another one of my favorite fighters and favorite coaches. James Krause, an incredible MMA mind, does some great work. Cup has a wrestling background. He's got a big body kick, a good guard. He uses the rubber guard well to lock his opponents down from what I've seen, but he ends up on the bottom a lot and he gets stuck there. He's one of these guys that gives up the takedown and then he likes to work from the bottom. But I don't know that I trust him there. I don't know that he's actually savvy enough off of his back to go ahead and put the... I don't know. I just don't trust him. If he's going to end up on his back, I don't like him. And at the weigh-ins, he's massive. He is huge. Now, Michelle, this is his second time on the Contender Series. Kid's a fast starter. He's got really precise, accurate striking, good hands, nice counter left hook, and he likes to bully his opponents up against the fence. He's got good second and third efforts with his takedowns, hits the trips, looks to put people on their back. And honestly, I just expect him to grind here. Michelle Lombardo is my pick here in this spot because I think he's got the exact style that's going to give a guy like Coop problems. If he can put Coop up against the fence, we're good to go. If he can put Cup on his back, as long as he can keep himself safe, we're good. The problem is Coop has got those long limbs, and in jiu-jitsu, arm bars and triangles, they come quick when you've got those legs. Now, Coop did win his last fight via TKO, but it was kind of a weak stoppage in my opinion. He triangled up his opponent, and his opponent was kind of stuck there, and he was just hammering away with elbows from inside of his guard. And while that is a solid move to make, I don't feel like he was actually hurting his opponent, and I feel like the stoppage came a little bit early. So I'm not sure that Coop is really UFC level. And I think the Contender Series experience for a guy like Lombardo is going to pay dividends here. So what we've got in this spot is Lombardo as a minus 180 favorite. Looks like money is coming in the other way. The size of Coop is a big question mark in my opinion. So this one, maybe a pass for me because I don't know if he should be that big of a favorite. So I'm not sure I'll pull the trigger on that one. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Lombardo goes ahead and gets the win. Then we have got Muhammad John Naimov taking on Colin Anglin. Now, Muhammad John, this kid's sick. Biggest favorite on the card. And I expect him to do work here. All right. 5-0. Normally you want to see a little more experience than that, but he's just a steamroller. Nice level changes, strong in top position, willing to go to work inside of his opponent's guard. He doesn't even have to pass to beat you up. He's willing to just posture up and start raining down power shots. Pressure fighter, nasty leg kicks when he marches forward. He's got a big overhand right. Another one of these guys that kind of reminds me of a Justin Gaethje. He is willing to sit in the pocket and brawl with his opponents, which obviously that can be detrimental, but he seems to come out on top more often than not. And he had to dig deep in his fight against Shane Brown. He got hurt badly in that fight, and he had his back taken. He was flattened out completely. And then he dug deep. He reversed position, and he ended up taking his opponent's back and choking him out. That's the kind of thing you want to see. This kid knows what it's like to face adversity. He knows how to get the shovel off of his back and just go to work and dig himself out of that hole and still get the finish. I am incredibly impressed with this kid. And like I said, rightfully so, he's a minus 375 favorite. He's taken on Colin, who trains out of Factory X. It's not a bad place to be. Honestly, he doesn't look like a half-bad kid. Flurries when he gets opponents up against the cage. He's got a nice uppercut, a big right hand. But honestly, he's willing to move backwards. And when he moves backwards, he's got no offense. He's an offense forward-only type of fighter. And if he can't move forward, he has no way to win. He drops his hands, leaves his chin up. I got Naimov by knockout. Anglin's last two opponents were 1-1 and 1-3. So he's fought a couple of guys that are half decent, but his last couple fights, winning spectacularly when you've got 7 pro fights and your opponent has 2, I'm not sold. I am not sold. Thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate you, my friend. Means a lot. Really does. I'm glad we have such a positive group of people. I've worked really, really hard to make sure we keep the positivity level up, and more often than not, that shines in the fan base. You guys being just as positive as I am makes all the difference in the world for this show. So thank you all for being here with me. I appreciate it. The main event of the Contender Series this week is Gregory Rodriguez taking on Jordan Williams, and this is a hell of a fight. Gregory Rodriguez is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion black belt. Big time ground skills. He is in crazy good shape, too. I did some stalking. Always got to do the Instagram stalking. He looks damn good right now. Very calm, very composed. He bullies his opponents up against the fence. He puts his size and his strength to work. He likes to pin people up against the cage or put them on the mat, and then he just smothers them. If you've ever been under a legit black belt on the mat, it is not fun. And this is one of those guys that prides himself on making it not fun to be underneath him. You do not want to be on your back under this guy. He's another fighter who knows how to dig deep and survive. He's been rocked in a couple of fights that I've seen him really be able to do what he's got to do to flip the script and then come back and win. And he's got underrated power in his hands too. He's fully capable of knocking his opponents out in there. And honestly, he's got a big size advantage here. He's much bigger than Jordan Williams at the face-offs. That was something that stood out to me immediately. Now, Williams, he's a forward pressure guy, always walking forward, good solid boxing, keeps his hands low though. He struggles defensively. He's one of these guys that is willing to give a shot to take a shot, and honestly, I've seen him give up takedowns more than once. He does have a good get-up game though, so he's not the kind of guy that's going to get stuck down there. He will work back to his feet. But he wades into shots. He's willing to eat them to try to fire back one of his own, and you can't do that against a guy like Rodriguez, in my opinion. He has big ground and pound if he can get on top of you. I don't know if he'll ever end up on top of Rodriguez. This is a guy that it's his third attempt on Dana White's Contender Series. And I talked about this live on the show with my boys. I talked specifically more about it with Guru. Nobody has lost their third attempt on the Contender Series. So far, third-timers on the Contender Series are undefeated. I'm looking at the other side here. he had another TKO win that was overturned due to marijuana. We're seeing that around the MMA world recently. So no big deal there. He had a good TKO win. And then he's taken 2 knockout losses, both UFC caliber fighters. So you can't really fault him too much there, but he's been cracked before. I really think that I'm going to make a play here on Rodriguez. Now, unfortunately, apparently I'm not the only one thinking that. The money is already coming in on him. He's dropped to a minus 130. I hope I can get my hands on that, because if I can bet Rodriguez, I will. I don't think Williams is UFC caliber. I think that take a shot to give a shot attitude is not going to be something that works for him. He doesn't have the chin to do it. He doesn't have the striking accuracy or the power to do it. And he's taking on a guy who is tough and gritty and durable enough to go ahead and answer that call if he wants to play that fight. And then if they end up in any kind of a grappling situation, Rodriguez has a massive, massive advantage. The only way Williams can win this fight is by knockout, in my opinion. So because of that, way more opportunity for Rodriguez to get the dub here. That's it, folks. That's my Contender Series breakdown. Join us here on Odds HQ tomorrow. We will be going live during the fights, and we will be live betting. We'll be talking about our picks and stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll get some lines out. Usually, they don't drop until the morning of sometimes with books, because it's such a small market. They don't like to overextend themselves here, because they can be very, very wrong on these Contender Series lines and just get destroyed for it. So I will lock those picks in. Of course, follow me at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter, because that's where you'll find me if and when I do go ahead and make a play. 3 guys, 1 puck. Thank you, my friend. You're a beauty. Now, I just want to tell all you guys there, we had a great night tonight. We had 350 plus live viewers. You guys are all the best. I do this for you and because I love it. It is so fun hanging out with you guys. I would like to put money in your pockets. I am not a professional sports bettor. What I am is a degenerate and an MMA fan that likes to have some fun. So if we can hang out, if we can make a little bit of money and enjoy the best sport on the planet, that's what the Die Hard MMA podcast is all about. You guys are the best. Make sure you're out there being a positive influence on people. Make sure you're not adding to the toxicity. There's a lot of bad things going on in the world right now. Times are tough. Families are split. We're all divided as a people. MMA really helps bring us together, and we can have some fun with one another. Make sure you're giving people props where it's due before you snap. If you have a position that you feel solid on, make sure you rethink yourself. Don't fire back in anger when you have the opportunity to. Try and keep things calm, positive, and enjoyable. It will come back to you in a big way. Karma is a real thing, and if we put that positivity out there, we will surround ourselves with positive people. Thank you all for being here with me tonight. Once again, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, let's roll.